first day at Millbrook so clearly. I remember feeling so embarrassed when I couldn't figure out the water dispenser and Sarah Hoover had to show me. I remember that I thought Millbrook was the happiest community, and I remember feeling scared to join it and scared to meet new people. These feelings probably sound familiar to anyone who has ever had a first day at Millbrook. Mr. Dilly did not help with the fear aspect, as I was promptly told upon my arrival to physics class on the first day that this was not summer camp. This would be the first of the many times he repeated that phrase throughout the year. At the time, it annoyed me greatly, along with the rest of my classmates, but I began to realize that the phrase was meant to remind us that what we did at Millbrook mattered. The way we talked and acted mattered, and especially the way we behaved in physics class and how we did our homework mattered. This was one of the first lessons I learned at Millbrook, that it didn't matter if you were planning to study physics in college or you never want to do science again, the work ethic and attitude you project affects how the community and your teachers view you. The Millbrook community often feels more personal than you would expect, like when Mr. Smith congratulates you on a paper or test before you even see the grade yourself. This is a blessing in many ways because it means you have people looking out for you all the time. That was one of the first things that stood out to me about Millbrook. The rest of my freshman year consisted of me constantly trying to keep up with the people around me. I straightened my hair every day, I wore far too much makeup, and I tried to dress the way I thought I was supposed to. I was constantly trying to be like everyone around me, and although I had tons of fun that year, I was struggling to figure out who I was. I lacked self-confidence and self-awareness, and at the time, it may not have seemed like a big deal, but looking back as the person I am today, there is a significant difference from who I was freshman year. The past few months have left me with a lot of time to reflect on some of the most important parts of my Millbrook career and what made it successful, including my most impactful conversations. The reason I would consider myself to have had a successful Millbrook career is because I developed and learned. The reason I was able to accomplish this is simple. The Millbrook faculty pushed me the way I needed them to. When I think of all these moments, like Mr. Powers coming to the third squash practice to tell me to try out for tennis, I'm reminded of how grateful I am to have had the chance to grow and change in a community that was filled with people cheering me on. I remember one distinct conversation with Mr. Rice during Racket Rec my fifth form year, when I was worried about trying out for varsity squash. Mr. Rice told me that I should always set goals for myself, and I should always try my hardest to achieve them, but that I should also go into it with the mindset that if it doesn't work out, I should still be proud of myself for trying, and that if I didn't make it, I could always try again. This conversation did more than encourage me to try out for varsity squash. It pushed me to apply to colleges that I knew I had slim to no shot of getting into. It pushed me not to fear rejection when applying for prefect, and it forced me to rethink my view of failure. Although that conversation was a very straightforward way to view an important turning point in my life, things like living in the freshman dorm, going to help with hurricane relief in Houston, volunteering at Simply Smiles for a week, and sitting on disciplinary committees helped me grow just as much. All of these moments are examples of me being pushed out of my comfort zone. Among the most significant of these moments is serving as a PC in Clark. I remember sitting in Mr. Skoglin's office at the end of my fourth form year, almost in tears, because I had just found out that I was going to be living in Clark, which was my last choice. I also remember his response, telling me that being selected as a student leader was a privilege, and I should instead be grateful to have this opportunity. I walked out of his office and rolled my eyes, but as I repeat the sequence of events out loud, it is evident that Mr. Skoglin was right. Being selected to be a student leader is a privilege. And rather than being sad, I should feel honored that the community around me wanted to give me such a big responsibility. This responsibility prompted a kind of self-awareness that I was just beginning to develop. And being placed in the third form dorm allowed me to rethink my morals and priorities in a way I had not previously. Each year at Millbrook, I became more aware of how the materialistic aspects of life would not be a sustainable way for me to adjust in order to thrive in new places. However, living in a third form dorm allowed me to realize this fully. As I looked back on who I was my third form year, I thought about the ways I wanted these girls to be different from me. I wanted them to have a sense of self-confidence and awareness that I lacked when I was a freshman, and I wanted them to care more about being genuine people rather than looking the part by hyper-focusing on makeup and clothes. Living in the third form dorm was one of the most emotionally draining responsibilities that I have taken on, but I am grateful for the friendships and relationships I formed that year because of it. I was pushed out of my comfort zone in order to grow, and I am grateful that the community around me had confidence in me even when I may have lacked it. These moments are what continue to push me to let Millbrook in fully. Millbrook is a special place with a lot to offer, and the personal growth I have achieved is not simply because I grew up, but because I trusted that the magic that makes Millbrook Millbrook would allow me to develop in a way I had not imagined. Everyone I interacted with pushed me to be curious and always try my best. Whether it was constantly rewriting UPPs or giving me the chance to go to the Student Diversity Leadership Conference, the faculty around me seemed to have a sense of hope in me that I didn't always see in myself. This support is what led me to try out for every team or club I was interested in. And although, of course, sometimes I got turned down, I realized that the only way I was going to figure out who I was or what I cared about was to try and be a part of everything that interested me. My teachers helped me realize that failure or rejection is not necessarily a bad thing, but just another way to help you grow. They pushed me to put my heart into things I cared about. At the time, maybe I didn't see the value in it, but as I sit here today, looking back at who I was freshman year, I can confidently say that my teachers and peers have helped me gain a sense of self-confidence and self-awareness that I did not previously have. They've helped me become a person who can face adversity and push through it. I have never felt this secure with myself and with my life. And I know that if I had not gone to Millbrook and if I had not met all the amazing faculty members, I would not be who I am right now. So here is my advice to all of you. 1, try everything that you want. Dig into Millbrook. If you don't, you're never going to know what you could have possibly gotten out of it. For everyone that is still going to be a Millbrook student in September, try to adjust your mindset to be open-minded to new opportunities. Whether it is your second or your last year, you still have time to find what you're passionate about and to form relationships with people who will help you grow. Even if you have, until this point, attempted to reject Millbrook, there is still time for you to try out for the sports you want and apply for things like SDLC or a student leadership position. If you put yourself out there and give everything your best, Millbrook will give back to you. 2, try not to be stubborn with yourself and try not to be stubborn with the school. All anyone wants to do is help you. And although at times the closed weekends may seem like torture, or you feel like the detention is unfair, all anybody wants is for you to grow into the best version of yourself. 3, remember that the faculty and staff don't spend time with you and at school because they have to. They do it because they want to. Listen to what your teachers have to say. You never know when you will hear something that sticks with you and helps you grow. They chose to work at a place where they can help people find their full potential. Take advantage of this and form meaningful relationships. Millbrook is a special place, and it is not that often that you get to live at a school with 315 other students. You've been given the opportunity to explore your interests and step out of your comfort zone, with Millbrook as a safety net below you. I'm at the end of my time at Millbrook, and although my senior spring was ripped away from me in a sad way that nobody can control, I feel excited for the next part of my life. The preparation and excitement I feel about attending college is because I dug into Millbrook, and I got everything I possibly could out of my 4 years. The people at the Millbrook School are my family. They made me who I am. They made me a person who I can finally say I'm proud to be. I am forever grateful to everyone who helped me during my past 4 years. Everybody at Millbrook, even Mr. Bean, who would give me holiday candy or a little note, plays a role in making the Millbrook experience what it is. Stop and notice the little things. Thank you.